house on the corner.
If you're a homeowner, especially of an older house, there's one guarantee you can always count on, and that's that there's things to be fixed. For a little while now, we've had a little leaky toilet here. The water refill spot is leaking some water, and we need to replace that part because it's been in there for quite a while. I don't need this whole kit, but I bought the part that needs to be replaced, and today we're going to teach Brendan how to do that, so he starts learning how to replace things in an old house. As with any plumbing project, what is the first rule of business that you should do? What was that?
Turn the water off.
Turn the water off. Rule number one, when doing plumbing, turn the water off. In order to turn the water off that comes into the toilet tank, you've got to turn the water off in the filler hose there. And there's a valve at the bottom of that filler hose. So you need to get down there and turn the valve in the direction that tightens it. So you shut the water off. Okay, now to check and make sure that's tightened. You still see water coming in. Check and make sure that it's shut the water off. We have to flush. And you see the water still coming in. So turn that valve the other way. And that's opening it up even more. So, in the case when you can't turn the water off enough here at the toilet, we've got to go down cellar and turn the water off the pipe that goes up to this toilet. We're back from the cellar. Now, just to be sure that we have all the water shut off and there's not going to be any water coming into the tank again, we need to get all this water out of the tank so it can work. I don't hear or see any water coming back into the tank. Okay, now, here's where it gets fun, because you're going to be spilling water. There's still water in the bottom of that tank, you see that? We have to get this out, which means some of that water is going to come out of the bottom. So you're going to have to use that while you unscrew the bottom assembly that holds that on. Okay, so in the bottom here, where this hose comes up, there's a fitting where this hose screws onto the bottom of the tube that goes through the tank. Keep unscrewing this until it comes off the bottom of that pipe. Underneath that is a plastic nut that also screws onto the bottom of that pipe. And that holds the pipe tight to the toilet. So it's tight in there, makes a seal, and stands up inside the tank.
Sounded like it did something.
Yep. There's that. So here we have the old refiller tube, okay? And this is our new refiller tube. We have to adjust this to match the height that we had on the old one so that we get the proper level of water that refills into the tube. Okay? And to do that, so you loosen this plastic ring and then you can unscrew this. Don't worry about the flow. The flow goes up and down. I'm looking for where this lines up to the bottom of the toilet. That's probably pretty close right there, isn't it? Okay, so once we got it, line this up. So it tightens that and holds it in place. Now we're going to put this in. Look down in there. So we need to line it up, back up with that hole that's in there. The other thing you'll notice is there's a washer, a rubber washer around the bottom of this, and that's what creates the seal on the bottom of the toilet, so that you don't leak water out all over when this is in. So looking at our instructions, the parts that we need, we have a shank washer, which is that rubber thing right there. Okay. On the bottom of this tube, we need to put this washer. Okay. And then when this goes through the bottom of the toilet, and we put the nut on, we tighten it, this forms the seal in the bottom of the toilet so the water doesn't leak out. Just like we took off from the other one, this is the washer that will go on the bottom and tightens that tube with the rubber washer to the toilet. Put it just like that, up on the bottom of that tube and tighten it. So we put the washer on and put the threaded shank through the bottom of the toilet. We put the filler valve, or we put the washer, or we put the threaded lock nut on the bottom of the shank, and we have to put the overflow pipe from the fill valve over to the overflow. Okay. Now you're going to do this. One end is going to go on the nipple from the refill valve, right over there on that side. Yep. So you're going to put one end of the hose on that. Make sure it's all the way on. Okay. And now the other end goes through that little ring there. That's good. Get down there. And fit that hose onto the bottom of the pipe and screw it on tight. Okay, go back downstairs and turn that valve. And if I start banging on the floor, turn it back on. You're good. Okay, so once we got the water back on, first thing you want to do is make sure you feel around the top of this hose where it connects.
Make sure it's not leaking.
Make sure you don't have any leaks coming out there. If you've got any leaks coming out there, then you don't have a tight fit, or you might have to replace this whole hose that comes up and fix on the top of the water pipe that comes out of the cellar. So now we know we got that working. we can start to turn this valve back on. We want to have a decent flow of water coming through here. And the last thing we're going to look for is to make sure it fills to where we want it. And as the water level comes up, the float will rise and shut the valve off.
That was close.
Just like that. And we are just about the same level of water we had before with the old one. And I don't see any leaking like the other one did. You see any leaking?
No.
So it looks like we're good. And see, the overflow tube here, if the water kept on going up and the float didn't stop the valve, the overflow would just go down the drain. See that? So I think we got it done. Right where we wanted it.
After some trial and error.
Broken camera. Another project done here at the old house.